Hey, what up, decisive marketers? And in this video, we're going to be talking about some article summarizers. We're going to be comparing between Genei or Genei. We're going to be comparing between Frase as well as Inksprout. Right? These three different tools, they do similar work, but they come from a different perspective, right? And it's very interesting for me to compare them, and I think the logic behind why they do certain things is very interesting, right? And why do you want to be using a article summarizer? It could be that because you want to summarize the article and just get the gist, right, so that you don't have to spend so much time reading through everything, right? And it makes your research process faster. Let's say if you are researching content to be writing your own, okay, using any one of these tools will help you to get the work done, right? Get the research process done much faster, right? So before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like to see more digital marketing and e-commerce content. And if you are a software or lifetime deal enthusiast, be sure to check out the links in the video description to join my Facebook groups, right? So let's dive in. Okay, and I have done a very simple table here. This might not have covered every single features out there, right? But I'm just mainly just comparing the article summarizer function. Okay, and so we've got the Genei, Inksprout, and Frase right here, right? So Genei has an add to project feature. Okay, same for Inksprout and Frase. Okay, so let me just kind of show you. Okay, so I have done a very simple summarizer on Channel News Asia, right? So this is a Southeast Asian news website. Okay, so there is a unfortunate news yesterday in Philippines where there was a military plane crash, right? So this is a article, this is a news article on the plane crash. So with Genei, okay, all you need to do is just click on the extension right here, and it will start to summarize the article, right? So it will take a little while, okay, right? And but here is the summary, right? Here's the summary. And one thing that I like about the summary itself is that they actually grab the entire sentence or paragraphs and put it in here, right? So if you can see here, right, all 96 passengers blah 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 on Monday, right? So they do kind of so like on Monday is not important, so they kind of removes that, right? So it's actually pretty smart in what it's doing. And then the crash happened blah blah blah, right, on the Sulu province. So it pretty much keeps the entire most of the article, the sentence itself, right, and which was carrying the most recent army graduates. Okay, so it didn't even say that, right? So it just removes this section here because if you want to know what happened with the crash and how did it crash, you probably wouldn't want to know what that it was carrying recent army graduates in there, but they do mention that afterwards, right, somewhere right here, right? The plane was carrying mostly recent army graduates, you can see here, right? So what they do is they don't just leave content, they don't just leave the sentences right out, but they kind of rephrase it and put it in a way that it's easy to understand, right? However, if you see that below some of the later contents in here, okay, let me see here. Okay, so right, so it seems that every time they do a summary, it's a little bit different each time, right? So it was not clear whether the pilots would be among the survivors. So let's look at pilots. Okay, so that's in there as well. Okay. Right. So previously when I did this test right before this video, it actually mentioned that there was no crash in the Philippines. There was no military incident, something like that, or military plane crash in Philippines since the past 10 years, right? They said a decade. So I couldn't get the same summary right now, so it seems like every time they do the summary, it gives a little bit different kind of result. But I tried to read into the article itself. I read the article itself, and I realized that it didn't mention that the you know there was a decade. It's been a decade since an incident. So I do feel that Genei is great in terms of the rephrasing and trying to understand the article itself, but I'm very curious as to where they get the information on whether there was another plane crash incident more than 10 years ago. Like, where do they get that information from? Okay. And so that's something that I'm very curious of, because it's not stated in the article itself, unless they are actually fetching some content from somewhere else as well, right? So then if the information is actually accurate, then I would think that Genei is actually pretty it's pretty exciting as to what they do, because they don't just summarize whatever is in here. They even feed you some additional information that is similar to, that is related to your current content itself, right? So let's say if what I do is that I can just let's say I've summarized this, right? I can just click on the plus button and just click add a new project, right? But this is where there's a little bit of issue over here. There's a small little bug over here. Let's say I were to type test and I click on the tick over here. Okay, it actually creates a project for me, right? Can you see that? It actually creates the test project for me. But however, okay, it doesn't really add the article inside here, and it is basically it created a project. However, it doesn't even show up, right? The project doesn't really show up in here as well. It maybe I might not be doing it the right way. It could be that but of course it could also be like a small little bug that Genei's Chrome extension has right now, right? So that's something to consider. Okay, so so this is actually a summary right here. Okay, and let's just dive in back to Inksprout. So if I were to go back to this article, and I can just click on Inksprout, and I can just click on get summary, and it will actually give me a summary right here. And if this is not sufficient, I can just click on plus, and it will generate more summaries for me, right? Right. However, you can see that the Inksprout's summary is a little bit different from Genei, right? Genei comes from a perspective that I'm trying to summarize everything and have an overall understanding of the article in a bullet form, right? However, with Inksprout, it is actually more of here's a snippet. It's more like here's a snippet, and you can grab this and summarize it. Because for Inksprout, they are more of it's coming more from a social media perspective, right? It's more like a social media tool itself, whereas Genei is more for a research tool, right? It's more focused on being a research tool, and Inksprout is coming more from a perspective of a social media tool, right? So they don't actually offer you that many summaries, and you're just supposed to grab this and paste it into your social media posts, something like that. Okay, then we've got Frase as well. However, it seems that it is not really able to analyze a lot of pages. Okay, I've tried this on a few different articles as well. So another one would be Forbes, with this article by Neil Patel, is not able to analyze this page as well, right? So there is some there could be I'm not using it right, or is just not working well right now, because Phrase is more of a SEO content optimization tool, and they might have neglected some of the the features of their Chrome extension to keep it working. I'm not sure, right? So this is just something that I am speculating. Okay, but hopefully maybe this video could get them to take note that there is an issue with their Chrome extension, so that they can come back and fix the issue on the Chrome extension, right? So all of them are able to add you can use the Chrome extension and instantly add the article into a project in any of these two. Genei, however, Genei does have a, sorry if I call it Genei and it's not what the founder likes to call it. That's my apologies, right? Because I heard him say Genei. Okay, but Genei is kind of spelled with IE instead of EI. So right, so the next one over here we have is notes, right? So you can actually put notes into the article itself. They have a command, and you can actually put in you can actually put some headings and bullet points and stuff like that in your notes itself, right? And you can even add links as well, right? You can even add links to a certain note as well. So that's really interesting as to what Genei does, right? It's a research tool, right? It's it's meant for you to take notes and refer to these notes. It's really focused as being a research productivity kind of tool here. And the next one that they have right here, let me not move on to other features yet. So the next one that we have, Inksprout, they do not have any note feature at all, so you can't really type any notes in here. Okay, so that's actually missing as in Inksprout. But then again, because it's a more social media kind of tool, there isn't really any need to take any notes, right? As long as the summary, it works for you, you can immediately post it on or schedule it on your social media. Next is Frase, right? Frase. So Frase, you can't really add notes, but what they do have in the article itself, as in when you in your project itself, you have a my content, you have a content brief, or you can even add more sheets in here, so that you can add your own notes in there, right? You can actually add your notes in there. Next is annotation, right? So annotation, you can actually select this, and let me just click on highlight first. Okay, sorry. Okay, there we go, right? So you can actually select this and click highlight, and it goes into the highlight here, right? And you can also summarize as well if you just click on this. Sorry, you can add to notes. Okay, then you have you can add to notes. Okay, it's not showing up here. Okay, there we go, right? Okay, so because I clicked on the wrong item, so you got to click this, and it will summarize that section for you, and you can then copy this, paste it in the note if you want to. Okay, So that's what it does as well. Okay, or you can click copy if you want to, right? So that's the note feature and the annotation feature for Genei. And in Frase, you can, of course, if it was working, the article will actually be pasted in here, and you can then highlight certain areas like this. However, it is not, there's no section that actually tells you that you have highlighted this particular area, you know, so it doesn't show you any highlights, right? Unlike Genei, what Genei does over here. And you can even put another comment on the certain certain features here, certain highlights in here, right? So next is the keyword occurrence, or I would kind of say that's like keyword density maybe, right? So with Genei, you can click on keywords, and I say that Genei is actually pretty smart in that sense, because they could tell that certain words are actually an organization, right? So it's actually pretty smart over here. So you can see that, okay, for example, Abu Sayyaf, right? Abu Sayyaf, it is a what do you call that, terrorist organization, right? So it is an organization, but the name kind of sounds like a person's name as well, but it's able to tell that it is actually an organization. Same for Lockheed, right? It kind of sounds like a person's name as well, so it's able to tell that this is actually an organization. So I feel that the Genei is actually pretty smart right here, right? And it can tell a person. However, right, Jolo is actually a location, right? It's actually a location, right? Jolo Island, right? So it's actually a place, right? So this is actually an island in, it should actually end up in here, right? Okay, so this is something for you to take note of, right? But I would say that it's actually pretty good. They just kind of need to improve on the accuracy a little bit, right? Then dates, okay, 50. I don't think 50 is the date in the article itself. 50 is, you know, the number of people who you know, the number of casualties in this article itself. Then what is this, nationalities, okay, quantity, ordinal. Okay, so pretty much that's what it does. And I think that you know, Genei, it's pretty smart in, you know, it doesn't just summarize stuff for you, but you know, you can add notes so that you can have a better idea on the article itself. And also you can also know, understand the article itself, how many times a particular keyword has appeared in the article, right? So I think you know, Genei is actually pretty exciting as to what it does. And for Inksprout and Frase, it doesn't have that feature. Okay, Frase kind of has, but it's more like keyword density for SEO optimization, right? So it's not really what we are looking at. Then we have summarize on social media integrations, right? So so I've got my Facebook right here, and I've already pasted this article from Neil Patel, right? And from Forbes, and it summarizes into this, right? So let me just kind of show you what happens. So let me just close this. Right, so let me just refresh, and I'm gonna paste this Channel News Asia article on the Philippines military plane crash right here. Okay, so I'm pasting this in here, and you can see that it summarizes, it puts some bullet points, summary of the article in here, right? So you know, Genei, this Inksprout, it's really seamless for social media kind of posting, scheduling. It's really useful. That's why I think that the Inksprout is really exciting for that. Okay, and I would say, right, between these three different tools, they all have a different function to or different focus in what they do. All three of them do summaries. Of course, we are not able to really test out what Frase does because it doesn't seem to be working on multiple different sites. It could be an issue on my end. I can't be too sure, right? For Genei, I would say that it's really good for you to research. All right, it's very good for your research process, or you just want to use it as a productivity tool. Right, read an article very quickly. Right, that's really useful, and being able to grab snippets of the article and highlight them, add comments, or write certain notes in the article itself. This kind of function, it kind of feels like a little bit like a tool for article writing as well, right? It kind of feels it's kind of trying to be halfway getting into that area as well. So I would say that between Genei and Frase, they're kind of very close in terms of what they do, but Genei doesn't really care about SEO. It's more about like being able to write accurately, have the facts and numbers in there, right? Something to be very factual on, right? I think Genei is great tool for that. What I think that is missing, however, is that I would wish that they have a team member feature, and team member being able to do annotations in the project itself. I think then Genei will be really awesome for that, right? Frase does have team members, right, but they don't really have editing between team members. So I mean, you can edit between team members, but there's no annotation between team members. So I think that's where kind of Frase, however, it's more like you add the project in, and you can use Frase summarizer, add the content into the Frase project and optimize the article from there. I think that's where the benefit of the Frase Chrome extension is. However, I think the biggest odd one out here is Inksprout, and it is actually very surprising and it's a simple tool, but it's so convenient and fun to use, I would say, right? So Inksprout, definitely something that I also recommend. It really depends on what kind of why are you using this article summarizer. What is your use cases? Are you going to use that for research, or are you going to be using that for social media posting, right? So those are something for you to consider. And I would say that both Genei and Inksprout are great tools. It really depends on you. I would love to hear, would you rather go with why did you choose Genei or Inksprout? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in my next video.